assumption that is regularly made by people is that everybody knows what is right and what is wrong. Now, ethical decisions in a business by business managers can cause conflict. Simply because if you're in a situation where there is a business with several managers and decisions to be made, one manager's belief can differ from manager A's belief can differ from manager B's belief, and that can immediately cause a conflict. And I read an example of such a conflict. In a situation where there are two managers of a business who have to make a decision on how to dispose of their factories, for example, Manager A's ethical belief leads him to think that there is nothing wrong with just dumping it in the river. Manager B, on the other hand, has a different ethical belief and believes that the waste should be disposed by other means. And this constitutes an immediate conflict, which can be detrimental, especially in a business setting, where the stakeholders are the employees and the customers and the community at large. To solve this situation where the conflict occurs, the law would have to be invoked, and in Jamaica, we have an environmental law. The law has to be consulted and adhered to. Such a solution would not be possible if there was no law and only ethics to govern business decisions. And the speaker before me and the opposing team mentioned behavior, but we're not speaking about behavior, we're speaking about business decisions by managers in Jamaica that can affect the customers, the employees, and the environment.
Such a way that seek to make a haven for managers and businesses rather than the lesser customers and workers. Most laws don't take into consideration ethics. And an excellent example of this is the branch gouging that took place after Hurricane Ivan. This was to the detriment of the poor, who had enough problems trying to make a living. In a country that was left vulnerable by a natural disaster, due to the ineffectiveness of the law, this natural disaster almost transferred into a man-made catastrophe. Again, widely influenced by business managers. A situation like this is an epitome how laws provide our Jamaican managers with enough room to set whatever price margins they feel suitable for that company. Yes, my worthy opponent, laws do exist. Most are enforced by the Bureau of Standards, and yet managers had a leeway. My worthy opponent, laws in that case were reactive, which proved ineffective as damages were already done. Ethics would have prevented the managers from making such a despicable business move. Laws are made by man and thus are subject to human error. On the other hand, ethics are
extremely successful using high ethical standards to guide their business decisions. NCBs, Building of Better Jamaica, who offer quality service and follow high ethical standards, have given back significantly to our nation from their profits. $150 million was given to Jamaica Education Initiative, a fund that commits to sponsoring CXCPs, early childhood education programs, and scholarships. Earlier this year, NCB announced 200 scholarships that will be extended to students who have completed their second year at our free universities. All of these benefits gained by companies choosing to abide primarily by good business ethics, not legalistic rules. This benefits both the primary stakeholders, the customers, and the secondary stakeholders, which in this case is the Jamaican society. Similarly, GMMB and also Grace Kennedy fund research programs such as Grace and Star and Harvest for the regeneration of downtown. Again, all of this development is birthed from companies relying on good business ethics, not the law. Bank managers, engineers, accountants, etc., who may be ethically bankrupt, their main focus is to find a way to get around the law.
Employees invariably should be told that they must always do the right thing for no other reason than it is right. But in the real world, it is not likely that a business person is going to sacrifice their company to claim such altruistic extremism. Although we surely cannot avoid ethical dilemmas, it is clear that none of us should be placed in a situation that we must perpetrate an illegal act for the sake of our company. You mentioned that one can be dishonest, unprincipled, untrustworthy, unfair, and uncaring without breaking the law. And to abide by the law carries with it an ethical obligation or responsibility. The key is it is unethical to break the law.
Yeah, that's what we said.
So the business decision should be made by law. Furthermore, you need to have an understanding of the law that have direct influence on your work. Furthermore, you will need to have an understanding of the laws that have a direct influence on your work.
Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, my worthy opponents, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My colleagues and I are here today to move to a moat to combat crime in Jamaica. Rights must be violated. Now, in order to move this moat, we must identify the key terms, which are crime, violence, and rights. Now, according to the Concise Oxford Dictionary, a crime is described as being a shameful act, punishable by law, or an evil act. A violence is
For the state of Jamaica today, we need a different tactic when it comes to fighting crime. But Davidson and Bunton and Kevin all agree. And even really was well known that the laws are just rules associated made by people to govern the peacefulness in the community or in our environment that we live in. So if criminals feel that they are above the law, how can we deal with them justly? Think about it. But the topic, as was stated by a lovely colleague Susan, is that to combat crime, rights must be violated. My worthy opponent, thank you for showing up, because the response to that is no. Your arguments are ludicrous. Thank you, Mr. Hill, for assisting my debate. You have pointed out many things that I have to say. In examining the question, we must identify the source of these crimes. You already did that for us. Thank you. My elite team of researchers are arrived at the following causes. A lack of education, with nothing to do with Mr. Hill pointed out. But grandmother always said, devil find idle hand to work for idle hand. So, they'll commit crime. A lack of opportunities. And we also need unemployment. So, in order to combat these crimes, you need to address these issues, so the government needs to find strategies and ways to solve these problems. What are our rights? Based on the principles stated by Mr. Must get the back right there. Based on the principle of justice and rights, he fails to mention that each person has equal rights, the most extensive and basic liberties. Jamaicans, on a whole, not based on any United States legislation, but United Nations legislation, says that each individual is entitled to the right of freedom, welfare, safety,